All right. So what's up, guys? It's been a little minute since the last time I made a video. It's just been in sort of like in translation. In transition actually. You see, I have a new setup going here. So I got this like drawing board on the desk and everything. I've just been sorry about taking so long because I've been thinking about making a video all the time, and this is a drawing I've been working on because I'm making a video on Instagram, right? Not in these. I've been working on this one to it's not done yet, but it's just trying to get used to drawing and hatching, because I guess I kind of want to get into that style, drawing and hatching, using ink, and then I want to get into some marker shading too soon, and watercolor and stuff. I just want to. But this is, I guess, what I've been working on recently at home. But I just been sketching a bunch in my sketchbooks and stuff, but not necessarily haven't had the proper setup. But now I do. And I even got another phone, so I can use my old phone to record with. So here we go. You probably saw in the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about Drawing Dynamic Hands by Burne, Hogarth. This is another book I don't see any videos or any coverage on YouTube. When I search up Burne Hogarth on YouTube, the only thing I really see is there's a video with him, John Buscema, and is another it's like a French artist. Them drawing. So you see him drawing, then you see the head drawing demonstration that he does, and then I think there's another video of a guy talking about the anatomy book, just his general anatomy book. But I don't see any videos on Burne Hogarth drawing dynamic hands. So I just wanted to, not only just do a flip through of the book, but sort of, I don't know, just sort of absorb it, just have a conversation about it. I'm not an expert in any sort of way. I'm trying to get better with my hand drawing, and I like Hogarth style a little. I've been doing some studies right here. It's just I'm going back through the Loomis book. This is a very popular book, and he drawing the head in hand, so he has hand drawing in this also, but it's in a different way. I'll probably show it in a little while I'm talking. I'm not going to make this too long of a video. I did want to do some studies today. So Drawing Dynamic Hands by Burne Hogarth. It's the structure, proportions, anatomy, movement, foreshortening, inventions, functions, gesture, occupations, and aging, right? So he does, this is like a pretty sizable book of hand drawing, right? This is probably the most sizable book I probably ever seen on just hands, right? Even I have this book right here, the Morpho book on drawing hands and feet, right? Even if you were to just compare their sizing there, it's a little, maybe 100 more pages, maybe 100 more illustrations of hands. So let's dig into it. So, he always gives an acknowledgement and things like that. Introduction page. He's really into, a lot of these Hogarth books really talk about art history, which I think is cool. I don't really see a lot of art history in the other books. I think he shows more at the end, but so forms and structure. So in the beginning, it's more of the arms, the flow of the arms. The arms, I guess, flowing into the hands, just sort of structurizing them, just simplifying the arm shape, like sort of like like how you would see like in a Bridgman book, or you know, or even in the Loomis book. I remember there's an illustration on just like simplification. But I really like I think Hogarth, a lot of these Burne Hogarth books, they probably had the best hands in them, in my opinion. Like I think it would be hard to find like just how detailed and how, you know, dynamic they are. You know, he really digs into the hands, which I feel like is a complex subject matter. Maybe even a little bit more complex than the figure, honestly, because there's so many different ways that the hand, you know, it's like, you know, in everyday life you don't really pay attention to how something like hands are so intricate, and these fine motor instruments that we have are just so extraordinary and so complex. So I feel like in this book, he breaks it down somewhat, but you know, you're gonna have to do some study. It's not like you're just gonna like, oh, he just broke it down so easily for me. It's like you're gonna see the breakdowns. You're gonna have to be studying these breakdowns over and over. Even me looking at these illustrations, right? They look simple, but then when you go put that pencil to the paper, it's like, oh, hands. This is why so many people dread drawing these things. But you know, I feel like once you dip into it and you start to gain the concept of the hands, it'll unlock a lot more potential for your art. It'll create a lot more of a dynamic feeling, a lot more of your characters alive. You know, you can not only just drawing a portrait or drawing a figure or whatever, the hands, like they really exemplify like what is your, you can draw a figure, but what is your figure doing? You know, we use our hands for everything. You can determine what a person is doing just purely just looking at their hands. You know, if I was to have these two things in my hands, right? You're like, oh, he's about to sharpen his pencil. That's what he's about to do, right? But if it's just like a figure just there, and their hands are not doing anything, or, you know, making any sort of dynamic action, then it's gonna stifle the sort of believability of your art. And I feel like this is cool right here. I don't know if I really like that the mannequin that he's using to like, you know, mimic the bones. It's like I don't know, like when I look at these, it kind of looks like wood for some reason. It looks like it looks like when those like joints move, like they're creaky. I don't know, like it's I never seen a mannequin hand like this before, right? Because before I had the Morpho book, and it's just a lot of the hands in here you see they're just built off of like cylinders. A lot of fingers and the phalanges and the whatever knuckles and things are built off of like simple shapes like cylinders, and then there's like looks like there's like a cap on the for the knuckles. It's just like caps on top. But that's how I was sort of used to trying to draw hands before, and a lot of hand drawing books they just use them cylinders, and they tell you like, oh, you know, there's bones under those cylinders, but the phalanges of the fingers can be simplified as like cylinders, or, you know, like cylinders with flattened sides. You know, you could use it like rectangular shapes or something like that. But this is the first time I'm seeing this, because this sort of mannequin is more so mimicking the bones rather than the whole shape of the finger. So it's like, you know, mimicking like, okay, this knuckle slims into this knuckle and slims into that one. So, you know, that's whenever you're looking at any of these drawings, you have to be able to, I feel like when you're plotting out the hand, before you just try to draw all the details, you should be drawing this under, because and he's saying symmetry of forms. The hand is seen from top, underside view, and it's sort of like especially in these books, it's like the fingers are clones of each other. You know what I mean? Especially when you're doing, and I can understand why, because especially when you're doing figure invention, it's like you have to be thinking of a system that's going to be able to be replicated over and over and over again, to imagine them in different positions, you know, infinitely. So it's sort of like you have to come up with a generalized way that your hands, that the way you're going to draw hands look. You're not necessarily trying to draw hands to them, you know, you're not going to look at this book necessarily and then go to a reference and be able to be like, oh, now I know how to draw hands from looking at a photo. It's more like he's teaching like these forms that are more generalized, that can be, you know, sort of used for not necessarily copy. Because whenever I see, because Burne Hogarth has a head drawing book, and when it seems like when he's drawing from copy, it doesn't have the same vibrance or the same like detail and visceralness as when he's drawing, you know, having illustrations like these. You know, so you just have to figure out what you're trying to learn how to do these things for. I feel like, especially in this book, you can maybe take the proportions away and take it to a reference, but I feel like this book is definitely geared a lot more towards an illustrator, a person who's trying to invent these things. Like, it's just teaching you the forms, and then teaching you the rules of these forms, you know, proportions and everything. But it is stylized, so you're not, you know, you're not going to, you know, I don't think actual hands look like this in real life. Like those you know, those finger pads are really long, if you can see that. Like, you know, it's like you know, it's stylized, like I said. It's rendered really well. The form is captured, I feel like it's captured perfectly, but it's stylized. And I just feel like this is an amazing book, especially, you know, just a book that you have to understand. Like, you have to sit with this. Like, you have to give yourself a chance with this book. You're not gonna, when you pick it up, there might be a little frustration just from beginning with it, especially with his render style. If you're trying to draw these sort of hands and you're sort of trying to copy the illustration, I feel like that would be a lot more frustrating. You should just be more focused on the forms that he's trying to create, not necessarily his render style, right? Because especially with the rendering style, that's a whole different, you know, sort of ballpark. He's using, you know, a lot of hatching and stuff. That's more like, you know, just trying to display the form. But I feel like whenever you're going through any drawing book, you should just be focused on, okay, I'm trying to learn the forms and all those things first. And then after I understand and can draw those forms and bend them to my will, then I can come back and worry about a rendering style. Because, you know, you're not going to, I mean, I think you'll learn, but you'll learn a lot slower trying to copy each and every illustration to the T. You should be more focused on, okay, these bone forms that he's showing me, you know, see, it's like summary of forms. These drawings summarize the forms discussed up to this point and the activities of which they are capable. These are the, you know, he's talking about the joints, the metacarpal phalangeal joints. That's a word. Metacarpal phalangeal joints from palm to finger, the wrist thumb connection. You know, it's you should be going through a book like this, not necessarily like being intimidated by these anatomical breakdowns. You should just be understanding, okay, the thumb, there's like a huge pad of muscle right here. This is a muscle, so I can draw maybe like sort of like a sphere, like more like a flattened sort of sphere for that going into the thumb. And then there's also another pad here, so it's sort of like a pad going all around here. So I can simplify the shape for the thumb and the palm. If you I could put those together, then whatever, like it's simple. You could just draw whatever box for that hand and then put everything on top. But it's just about capturing those forms. Don't necessarily be intimidated by the rendering style. I just think that his rendering style is just showing you a complete finished breakdown that you would go in so you can understand. That's why it's the detail. I feel like it's pushed to that direction, not for you to copy, just so you can understand the form, right? But this book is it's great. It's like a gold mine for drawing hands, especially if you want to do it from from imagination, be able to invent these things. And there's like, I feel like the reason why I would value a book like this over the Morpho is because in here there's a lot of drawings. So if you want to get straight to the drawing, the Morpho book is great if you just want to get straight to the drawing. Minimal text. He just sort of explains the skin envelops the fleshy masses, create folds or stretches like a garment. So he's telling you, he'll say something like that, and then he'll just give you a few drawings, not too much heavy into the text, right? But this is like every page, every time there's an illustration, there's text, And even when I was talking about with the thumb, right? You see, I'm not even trying to like seem like whatever. Like this is what I was just trying to explain. Like, you see how he has this finished illustration. You shouldn't be trying to copy that. You should like what I was saying. Like, this is a pad right here, and you can simplify that. And sort of, you don't have to mimic this. Like, you could simplify, go in and find where the finger is turning. Like, this is the side plane of that finger, the side of that finger. This is that pad right here into the thumb pad, spiraling in, or even like the the hypotenor plateau, right? I think that's how you say that word. Hypertenor plateau. Hypothenor plateau, right? Even the outside of the hand, where the outside of the hand that's leading up to the pinky finger, that's a whole side plane of the hand. Just understanding how the hand looks when it's turning. You got a pad right here, you got a side plane, so you can really track when you turn and twist the hand in different positions. You're looking for that side plane and you're looking for that pad. Where is that going to be at? Just focus on them forms. And then he goes in and explains that thumb shape, and it's like, you see how he has the padding on there, but this under shape is what the padding is going to be put on top of. So maybe you could start with a shape like that and then draw other shapes to add that padding on there. Stresses and energy flows. He's more so talking about what direction you're going to be creating your lines when, especially when you're talking about folds and creases in the hand. He really stresses those. So, it's just showing you what direction they'll go in for them to look natural. Sort of like, showing like rhythm lines in the hand. Because you can there's rhythm lines and everything. But I sort of wanted to move through it a little quicker. Didn't want to hold on to it too much. But this is definitely a goal of mine. He talks about foreshortening with the hand. Expansion and compression, right? That's more of like when it goes into more of them, like into them rhythm lines. And I love these illustrations. They look freaky. They look freaky as hell. But they are showing you like how you can invent, multiple sequence changes. Like, I think these are I don't think you're gonna go into any other book and see sequence changes in hands like this. Like, it's just, you know. See, and then and towards the end, he just goes into deep, dark render. Like, you know, he goes into that. I just wanted to go to the end just so you can see aging. So there isn't, I know in the Morpho book, the handbook, it has like baby hands or whatever, but it's showing you like hands, different ages, especially if you just don't want to draw them hard, like, you know, visceral hands like he usually draws. This is like, still his style is just a little, he draws them a little softer, which I think I like also. And then he gets, you know, gets gritty. Then he got some of the more feminine hands, which I think I like, you know. I feel like when I was flipping through this book, this is like the page I stuck on. 'Cause I'm like, I don't really see a lot of feminine hands in a lot of books. I do, but not like, you know. You know, then he just shows hands doing different actions. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is sort of like the end product of when you actually learn how to draw hands. Like, you can see like this is already creating like some sort of vibe. There isn't even a figure connected to it. It's just hands, and it's like, you know, it's already creating that interest, that you know, creating some sort of idea or story in your head, creating some sort of like it's affecting the energy of the image, and it's only the hands, you know. So yeah, that's the end. But yeah, definitely, this is a definite, like, you know, you should definitely pick this book up just to have it in your collection, even if you don't necessarily like Burne Hogarth style. There isn't any other book out there like this. Maybe the Morpho book. That's really it. But yeah, I'm gonna end it now. I don't want my video to be too long. But yeah, next time I'll probably be talking about the getting back to Tom Fox. Yeah, but see you guys later.